Hello, and welcome back to the Blindside channel. This is The Word, episode 4, Genesis chapter 4. And in this chapter, we learn about the first family. We already know that after Eve was tempted to eat of the fruit from the tree of good and evil, and thus so tempted Adam into doing the same, that God has banished them from the Garden of Eden. So we now learn about their lives in the wilderness, their children, and the first children of human conception on earth. After this, we'll analyse and see how we can link it with today's knowledge and modern day way of thinking. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, please do give it a share as well. And let's have a listen to Genesis chapter 4.
Chapter 4. And Adam knew Eve his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said,
I have gotten a man from the Lord.
And she again bare his brother Abel. And Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in process of time it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord. And Abel, he also brought of the firstlings of his flock, and of the fat thereof. And the Lord had respect unto Abel and to his offering, but unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect. And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. And the Lord said unto Cain,
Why art thou wroth, and why is thy countenance fallen? If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door. And unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him.
And Cain talked with Abel his brother. And it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel his brother, and slew him. And the Lord said unto Cain,
Where is Abel thy brother?
And he said,
I know not. Am I my brother's keeper?
And he said,
What hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. And now art thou cursed from the earth, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth.
And Cain said unto the Lord,
My punishment is greater than I can bear. Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid. And I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth. And it shall come to pass that every one that findeth me shall slay me.
And the Lord said unto him,
Therefore, whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold.
And the Lord set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him should kill him. And Cain went out from the presence of the Lord, and dwelt in the land of Nod, on the east of Eden. And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bare Enoch. And he builded a city, and called the name of the city after the name of his son Enoch. And unto Enoch was born Irad. And Irad begat Mehujael. And Mehujael begat Methusael. And Methusael begat Lamech. And Lamech took unto him 2 wives. The name of the one was Adah, and the name of the other was Zillah. And Adah bare Jabal. He was the father of such as dwell in tents, and of such as have cattle. And his brother's name was Jubal. He was the father of all such as handle the harp and organ. And Zillah, she also bare Tubal-Cain, an instructor of every artificer in brass and iron. And the sister of Tubal-Cain was Naamah. And Lamech said unto his wives,
Adah and Zillah, hear my voice, ye wives of Lamech. Hearken unto my speech. For I have slain a man to my wounding, and a young man to my hurt. If Cain shall be avenged sevenfold, truly Lamech 70 and sevenfold.
And Adam knew his wife again, and she bare a son, and called his name Seth.
For God
Said she,
hath appointed me another seed instead of Abel, whom Cain slew.
And to Seth, to him also there was born a son, and he called his name Enos. Then began men to call upon the name of the Lord.
A beautiful chapter there, and a lot of firsts. So let's break it down and analyse perhaps what it all means. So Adam and Eve had 2 children, Cain and Abel, and Cain and Abel gave a sacrifice to the Lord. Cain, a tiller of the ground, gave God fruit, and Abel, a tiller of the cattle, gave God meat. God preferred the meat, but it didn't necessarily mean that he was disappointed with Cain, although Cain took it that way. And it's an important line that God said, in other words, if you do well, I'm going to be pleased with you, aren't I? So don't worry about it. Cain was worried. He was very jealous, as your first example of jealousy in the world, and therefore killed his brother. And that's the first death in the Bible. Obviously God very upset about this, and curses Cain. And Cain has the opinion that anyone that finds him will surely kill him. So God places him under protection, if you like, and says, in other words, if anybody kills Cain, then they are going to live in great torment, and 7 times more tragedy will occur unto their lives. So a lot of firsts there. And then of course we hear the first family tree. Now a lot of people ask, who did Cain, where did his wife come from? Well, you hear after they've described Cain and his wife and their family tree and generations, the verses, and Eve knew Adam knew Eve again. In that sense it means, you know, they had sex and they gave birth to another son. So it is my view that between Cain and Abel and Seth, there were other children born of Adam and Eve, which were daughters. That's just the way I perceive it. So technically Cain and his sister fell in love, but when the gene pool is that small, what can you do? And so yeah, a lot of firsts. So how can we link any of that with modern day science? Well, we can't, but we can link it very much in chapter 3 with modern day thinking, jealousy, hatred, murder. These are all things that occur on a daily basis, and to this day it still goes on. It's a natural feeling, jealousy. It's not you saying to your body, I want that, therefore I'm jealous of it. It's built into you naturally. Yet another thing, very much like love, as we discussed last time, that is unexplainable. So I again feel that, you know, this is the first example of what we all experience in this day and age. And murder, well, it happens all the time. Murder through jealousy. There are programs dedicated to it on TV. Unfortunately, it happens all too often. And this was the first example of that. So I hope you enjoyed episode 4, and join me again soon for episode 5, where we look at Genesis chapter 5. And until then, God bless.